Warning, censorship. Warning, censorship.
You're an entrepreneur. You're just trying to run a restaurant. You're just trying to make a living for you and your young family. A lot of these people imposing these laws, they're bureaucrats, they're politicians. They've never had to run a balance sheet. They've never had to make payroll. Do you think there's maybe a lack of...
Nor have they ever missed a paycheck yet or taken a pay cut or experienced a temporary COVID layoff like everybody else? Yeah, because they're all here right now. But the highest unemployment in the G7 right now. I think you can quote me on that. And these guys haven't missed a day of work, and nor have they missed a paycheck.
Gee, and I thought we were all in this together.
Yeah, it seems like, we're all in this together, but we certainly aren't all in the same boat. A lot of these politicians are on their boats in maybe Barbados, St. Bart's. Yeah, well, we're here hanging onto a life raft.
Well, you never know who you're going to bump into at an illegal gym reopening, and I'm with Adam Skelly, of course. Adam is famous for Adamson Barbecue, and also, I guess you could say, infamous for getting hauled away in handcuffs back in November. You know, Adam, I mean, that was an incredible saga. I got to ask you, on the heels of, say, Rod Phillips being disciplined for him, well, not breaking a law, but certainly breaking a rule, and coming back to Ontario, what are your thoughts on that, given the way he was treated and the way you were treated?
I have nothing negative to say about Rod Phillips. I think that anybody should be able to go away on vacation right now. I don't think you should have to take a mandatory test when you come back, nor do I think you should be held in an isolation facility when you do come back from vacation. I hope Rod Phillips had an amazing time down there, and I hope that these bureaucrats and politicians can get their together and allow the rest of us to act how them and their families act every day.
You know, I'm with you 100%. I think this is a good news story, all these elected officials running off to vacations, because what it says to me is that this virus, it isn't as dire as what they're making it out to be. They are setting a bunch of rules for us to follow, but they're the insiders. They have all the information, and obviously they don't feel it's as deadly as what's being depicted. So maybe just lift all the travel bans and let us all go on holiday without any problems.
Oh, I think that'd be a great solution to all of this. I think they could just end it all right now. And hopefully with our constitutional challenge that we're going to be bringing very shortly, the whole Reopening Ontario Act will be thrown out and we can all get back to the old normal.
And Adam, tell me, give us an update. The last I saw you was literally being hauled away in a Toronto police cruiser, handcuffed no less, the mounted unit surrounding your restaurant. In the last, I guess, 6 weeks now, what have you been up to? Where do you stand legally? How is the GoFundMe page going? Can you give us some details for those questions?
The GoFundMe page is great. I think we're up $335,000 more. $335,000. I think that's more than enough to mount our whole legal challenge on the 4 different fronts that we have between the legal and the criminal and the civil stuff. I found out in the last week, really wrapped my head around everything that happened, how all those events unfolded. The Section 22 order, the closure order that they put on the restaurant, unlawful. The Section 24 order, that's what they used to enforce with all the police there that day, unlawful. The Trespass to Property Act that they brought to charge me with mischief and obstructing police for reopening the restaurant, also unlawful. So feeling very confident, very excited, fired up for the court cases that we've got coming up.
And of course, you know, the way you were treated, I think a lot of people think it was such an overreaction. I mean, for goodness sakes, the mounted unit came in as though there was an active shooting thing going on at your restaurant. I am wondering, Adam, when you look back upon those days in late November, do you think this was Mayor John Tory and the public health officer, Eileen Davila, sending a message to other retailers in Toronto that if you dare have the temerity of Adam Skelly and try to pull one of these illegal openings, guess what? This is what happens. Literally, all the king's men and all the king's horses come into your establishment. Was that what was really happening that day?
Of course. Well, how could you think anything else? I don't think anybody in their right mind would think that having 75 cops and 6 horses to stop a guy from selling pulled pork sandwiches is reasonable by any measure. I think we're in agreement there, David.
Do you think in a way they might have won? I would say, hey Vlad, I would say, Adam, if tens and 20s and hundreds and thousands of businesses reopened in Toronto, they don't have enough resources to shut them down the way they did you. But it looks like with very limited, operators here and there popping up, there is not this I guess, groundswell of retailers, gyms, restaurants willing to break the law. So do you think this show of force, in a way, kind of did work in terms of making an example out of you, in terms of sending a message to other operators?
It may have worked for a short period of time, but once we start having success in the courts, that's going to be a huge change.
And you're an entrepreneur. You're just trying to run a restaurant. You're just trying to make a living for you and your young family. A lot of these people imposing these laws, they're bureaucrats, they're politicians. They've never had to run a balance sheet. They've never had to make payroll. Do you think there's maybe a lack of...
Nor have they ever missed a paycheck yet, or taken a pay cut, or experienced a temporary COVID layoff like everybody else? Yeah, because they're all here right now. But the highest unemployment in the G7 right now. I think you can quote me on that. And these guys haven't missed a day of work, and nor have they missed a paycheck.
Gee, and I thought we were all in this together.
Yeah, it seems like, we're on this together, but we certainly aren't all in the same boat. A lot of these politicians are on their boats in maybe Barbados, St. Bart's. Yeah, well, we're here hanging onto a life raft.
Well, Adam, I want to thank you for your time as always, and tell us when is the Etobicoke location of Adamson Barbecue going to open up? There's a whole bunch of people out there that are dying for your pulled pork sandwiches.
I think that's going to be next weekend. There's still a lot of legal conditions where if I open it up for in-restaurant dining, I'll go straight back to jail. I'm not willing to do that for a long period of time. So we'll open up for takeout, and then we have a bunch of other options that we're pursuing too. So you'll see some more stuff happening soon.
Okay, well, Happy New Year, Adam, and all the best in 21.
All right, thank you.
Folks, are you sick and tired of politicians and bureaucrats telling you that you cannot open your business? Well, if you're going to take a rebel stance and open the doors, please go to iwillopen.com. That's iwillopen.com. Reach out to us, and we'll tell your story to the world.